Tons of manure is coming into Indiana, and some Hoosiers are worried it could make them sick. 13 Investigates exposed how much manure is coming in and why the state couldn't do anything to stop it.
And tonight, our senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel shows us what Indiana is now doing to make sure all of that manure is stored properly.
For years, it's been piling up across Indiana. Mounds of poultry manure. 13 Investigates discovered thousands of truckloads are being shipped in from Ohio. It's a highly valued fertilizer, but state leaders in Ohio have encouraged farmers there to send their poultry manure to Indiana after an environmental disaster. At Grand Lake St. Mary's, blue-green algae has killed fish, birds, and tourism. The algae crisis, a direct result of manure runoff that drained into the lake from area farm fields. With truckloads of manure now coming to Indiana, some farmers want to capitalize. They've started building large structures to store it. And some of the structures are being built right next door to neighborhoods, right next door to Malin Whitaker.
There was no notice, no notification, no nothing.
Manure barns can be as long as a football field, holding more than 5,000 cubic yards of poultry waste. And residents say the pungent smell travels for miles, even requiring them to wear gas masks. So far, the state has no rules to regulate large standalone facilities that store manure. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management says that is about to change.
We feel it's important that we have some oversight of any of those kinds of structures, because that, if they're not constructed properly and would fail, would have disastrous effects.
Wednesday afternoon, the Indiana Environmental Rules Board held a public hearing. It wants to get feedback on a proposed rule that for the first time would regulate these types of manure storage sites. Farming groups like the new proposal.
We believe that these structures are a positive improvement in the management of manure in an engineered and controlled system, and we urge the adoption of this rule.
But environmental groups say the proposed rule does not go far enough.
It's quite frankly an unconscionable disregard for environment and public health for people who live in rural communities and rely on well water for their drinking water.
Board members seemed sympathetic to their concerns. The panel gave the new rules a preliminary approval, but suggested changes will be coming.
Despite today's vote, this process, which began years ago, is still far from over. IDEM must now draft a final rule, then allow for public comment, and then have another public hearing, which means Indiana's final rule on manure storage is at least 6 months, possibly even a full year away. In downtown Indianapolis, Bob Siegel, Channel 13 Eyewitness News.